Okay, so today we're actually doing another view of overview. Instead of there, they could have just hammered. Because if they have hammer and they have bad mats as well, like 30 builds and 80 builds, pretty bad. Instead of tarping there, and they might like end here and then hammer again. Look how much area they covered with like 200 builds. They could have just sat back here and then hammered. So in the first movie, they're just hammering, boxing. Also, I think with this thing here is because they know zone goes up here, right? So eventually all these people are gonna ramp up and there's gonna be a huge mess here right in front of them when they need to go up as well. So what they want to do is hammer earlier than all those builds, which would be around here, which is when I said they should hammer from instead of building forward more. Because you see here, what actually happens is exactly that. So if they stopped back here, or even here, down here, and they hammered from here, look what happens. They hammer on top of all these builds, not through them, and then that's an easy rotate. But instead what happens is they sit here, which gives people even more time to build stuff in front of them, and they are further forward closer to the elevation change. So when they hammer, boom, they hammer, where are they? Oh, here they are. They hammer just right into the mess. This does muck them up quite a bit, I'd say. That could have been very dodgy and they could have died. Luckily, after all that mess, they're in a pretty good position to do good this game. Because this is when I think it goes wrong, right? They should have more builds here. So I think there is also another problem before this, which I'll go over. So at this point, like around this much mats is when you're like, okay, we really want to kind of start looking for low ground, you know? Because you're getting to that point where you're like, if you stay up here in this end of this zone, the next zone you're gonna have like 30 or 20 builds each. And you're gonna find that's just gonna make it really hard to like get to low ground and start getting kills. So I feel like to make that easier here, you should have started to play lower down layers, right? Like it's nice being up here, but with these mats, what I probably would have done is ended up like on a layer here. It's pretty high up, so rotates are decently easy to get to no matter where it goes. But then also wherever next zone pulls, you notice how much quicker it is to drop and get low ground, which is like what's going to help you get kills. But if you're up here and you end up having like 30 wood builds each, you notice how long it's going to take to get down to low ground, and then by the time you get there you're going to have no mats. So I think it's just a thing of like kind of calculating and estimating like how many mats you have and how low you should be down to start going for low ground and stuff. Because here obviously if they had 50-60 builds each, which they have half of, then I would have definitely liked them to be staying up here on the high layer they are. But because of their mats, it would be way better to be like halfway down to low ground here. But right here, this is also a thing that could have made them do bad. So 16 builds each, 32 builds each, they're on second height, they need to get low ground or close to start getting kills. Because if they're here second height and they have to drop all the way down here, they're not just going to drop down without building at all, obviously. They're going to drop box so they don't die. So by the time they get low ground, they're going to have no mats. But imagine, like I said, they were down here. Look, they probably don't even have to build a single box. They can just drop all the way down to low ground. Also remember though, if they did have good mats, this would be the like better, more optimal position. Instead of doing what they're doing now, kind of taking the time for low ground, they don't have enough mats to take their time. They need to just hammer and then drop all the way down and then play low ground here. Imagine that, look. So when next zone pops, they were here. They could have just hammered, land here on the perfect low ground here and then get kills. So yeah, that's the biggest learning point of the game, estimating how many mats you have compared to what layers you should be playing and when you should start going for low ground. And if you don't have enough mats, so you should like urgently get low ground, or if you have enough mats so you can take your time to get low ground, all that type of stuff.